All right, quick update on the Frank's Family Farms 4-lot, 10-acre total build project. It's going to take forever, probably until I'm dead. Everyone is eating lunch now. Yum, yum. We have the building pretty much done. The concrete roof is up. ICF is up. We put a fence around the top. We're going to do a little landing and a staircase coming down like this. One thing here. Now, this is not dissolving the ICF. If you put solvents on the ICF, they'll like melt it. This is Henry wet patch. The Henry wet patch in that 5-gallon bucket or the 1-gallon bucket, you just kind of spread it on there. It's not dissolving the ICF. However, let me tell you what is dissolving the ICF. The other Henry product, this guy, the rubberized wet patch, has lots of solvents in it, and it dissolves the ICF. I'm going to show you what I mean. So if you look down here, it's like melting. All this along the flashing, I use that behind the flashing and kind of up here, and it's like melting the ICF a little bit. It's dried out now, but it did melt it a little bit. So I have to go back over this with something that won't melt the ICF. Again, if you have solvents in there, yeah, it will melt it. So we have the flashing down around the side. I still have to detail that flashing out. Flashing up at the top, still have to detail that out. Flashing around the door, still have to detail that out. No idea how I'm going to do that yet. I have to redo that window. It's leaking. I got like the cheapest window you can find. It's not even gas filled. It's just an $89 2x3 window. And I sealed up along the bottom, and the water can't weep out. So that could be one of the reasons. We are affixing some brick there along the top. We're going to stucco all of this right up to the bottom of that brick. There's some flashing there that kind of pokes out. We'll stucco all this after I replace the window. And you have to use a special kind of stucco. And in case you're wondering, we're using this anchoring adhesive epoxy to affix those bricks there at the top. But anyway, we have to use a special stucco from basically it's the same kind of stucco they use to stucco pools. And it's completely waterproof. It's acrylic based. It doesn't have any Portland cement or lime in it. It's all acrylic based. I forget what they call it. But anyway, no Portland cement, no lime. It will adhere well to this ICF block. We did patch up all of these with the Henry wet patch. Again, it's not dissolving. And then we painted on some adhesive, some concrete primer, basically. Some of that action. Yeah, painted on some of that stuff. So the surface has something to stick to. And this stuff sticks, this Henry wet patch. I mean, it like welds onto that ICF. We put the wet patch on before we applied the concrete bonding agent. And it is really, I mean, the Henry wet patch is just completely welded onto that ICF. So it works well. And that's what I did around that window, but I have to totally redo that. Let's go inside. We'll have to detail out this door. I didn't do that door right. Anyway, here, we're just going to put some shelving down here. A little bit of storage. We'll put, we have to redo these stairs. They're just kind of here temporary. So we can get up here. It's going to be like a storage loft area. And we'll get all that cleaned up. But that's what the inside of this looks like. We still have to detail around here some waterproofing. We put a concrete coloring agent on the floor. after we poured it. Just smeared it on with a towel. It came on way too dark. There's one part of the floor here that's lighter that I like, but this is a utility building. This is going to have our well pumps, our compressors, we'll bring in some electrical service to power the well and all these sorts of things. It's not supposed to be pretty, but if I was to do this floor again, I would probably not put the coloring agent on so heavy. I would probably make it more, maybe more something like this color down here, somewhere around there. But that acrylic we put on this floor is really shiny, really hard, and it will be easy to mop and clean this floor with that floor cover, with that floor concrete finisher, or whatever you call it, paver sealer. So this is the stuff. Man, this stuff stinks so bad when you use it. When we painted this floor, we closed the door and opened the window to let it air out. And when I came back the next day, there were little dead bugs like everywhere, like it fumigated the place. Anyway, so we affixed this chipboard or OSB to the inside of the ICFs, just so we have something to screw to. We can screw into the ICFs, but the problem with that is they have a strip you can screw into, but there's only a few strong points along that strip, and it's only about the size of your thumb. And if you miss that, then you still hit the strip, but you hit a weak part of that strip, and it pulls out real easy. So I was just like, you know what, forget it. OSB is really cheap. Well, not really cheap, but cheaper. So we put some 19/32 OSB on here, and then when we run things along the wall, we'll just conduit whatever. We'll just tack it to this OSB, and that'll be good enough to hold it. And then the detail here, we put some membrane. We put some membrane coming behind the. We affixed the membrane to the ICF bricks, ICF inside wall, and then we had it come down over this, and then we put the plywood over it like that. We still have to finish detailing this out with some somehow. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. In the future, big giant pro tip. In the future, this has a tendency to leak. We sealed it up pretty good once we started putting the flashing on the outside and all that stuff, but for some odd reason, I couldn't really find it, but when it rained, water would find its way into the ICF somehow. Now, keep in mind, we don't have the outside stuccoed or anything like that. So water would find its way into the ICFs, run down back behind the ICF against the concrete, find its way, and leak a little bit. Not a lot, but leak. In the future, if I was going to do this again, I would not create a stub wall. I would not do that. What I would do is just run the ICF down to the footing, so the ICF actually keeps going below grade, and then you don't have to worry about water coming down, hitting a cold joint, like this. The water comes down, hits a cold joint, and then leaks. It's better to have your ICF just go all the way down to the footing and not do the stub wall. That's one thing I would definitely change. Other than that, everything came out great. It was a little difficult for us to get the concrete consolidated under this window. So there's a small hollow gap here under this window. We did cut holes in the ICF per instructions when we poured concrete in here to fill that gap, but there's still a tiny hollow pocket. We can tell when you hit on the ICF, it sounds different in that one small spot. Other than that, highly recommend ICFs, Pacific Northwest. Don't got to worry about dry rot, all that jazz. A few tweaks, everything's okay. Totally have to redo this door too. The detail here, I got to figure all that out. This is working with ICF. This is the first time, and I know there's a lot of instructional videos on the internet that explain what to do, best practices, these sorts of things. I am 50 years old. I've been on the job site with my dad and his buddies since I was 5 years old. Been building a really, really long time. And if you are new to a material or new to a process or something when it comes to building, you kind of just learn along the way. It doesn't matter. You can do all the research in the world until you get out in the field and you start doing it yourself. You are going to make all kinds of missteps. So that's one thing I'm really happy about as far as this building goes. We have learned a lot building ICFs, and the rest of our homes on this property, you know, we have 4 lots, 10 acres. The rest of our homes on this property are going to be ICF, so we're basically sharpening our teeth here on this small 20 by 20 or 17 by 17 utility building. We'll keep you updated. We'll send another video when we get the stucco here. We're gonna I forget what they call it, something Crete, C-R-E-E-T. It's the stuff BuildBlock uses to line swimming pools. I'm not gonna wrap this, no tar paper, none of that jazz. We're just going to throw that stuff on, a thin coat of that, embed a fiberglass mesh, and then throw another thin coat of that on. If it can waterproof pools, it can waterproof a wall. That's the way I see it. Anyway, check back again soon. We'll post another video.